there would be one piece of advice, you got phones there, you got microphones there. If there would be one piece of advice when competing with multiple agents for a listing, what would it be and why? Should we start with the newbies down here?
Personally, I think when we go for our listing appointments, our big strength is that we're offering a team approach, that they're not hiring one agent, they're hiring a team. We have there's 4 agents, plus we have an administrative marketing person. So our big push is, where somebody's available for them at all times. Our marketing is stronger than most. We put a lot of money into our marketing. We have a business plan. Unlike most agents, they don't have a budget, they don't have a business plan. We come to the table with making sure that we're organized. And again, the big thing is that there's always somebody available. It's very rare that if somebody needs us, that one of the 4 of us, that we're not available. So I think that's our big push.
Anybody else want to tackle that?
They hit it right on the head with that one. Are you asking if you're going up against an individual agent or another team? Or?
Just multiple agents, so it can be either one, a team or an individual agent.
I'd say that definitely hits it right on the head. One thing that you definitely don't want to do is throw another agent under the bus and talk bad about another agent.
That's the #1 piece of advice I would give anybody that's interviewing against other agents. And once you get to the end of your presentation, you can ask, is there anything anybody else showed you that really jumped out to you, really stood out to you, that you thought was that you didn't see in my presentation? And they're going to tell you, well, they put it on 3,000 different websites. Well, that's just list up, or they do open houses. And then you can get all objections out if you ask them at the end of the presentation. Don't ask necessarily for the business yet. Ask, is there anything else that anybody else did or said that jumped out to you? And then you know what their target, what their real sticking point is with their driving impact is in taking a listing.
I agree with that, not throwing any other agent under the bus. Actually, I've taught my team that we're there to make other agents look good, and I believe in that very strongly. We're the ambassador, so to speak, to real estate. So it's like you're an ambassador for the United States. What's your one job? Your one job is to make the United States look great, and we're there to make real estate agents look great. So we network within the real estate community, and I feel like we've got a great reputation with other agents. So that's a big thing. Our marketing is huge. And there's many other things, but the biggest thing is what Caleb said. I mean, basically, you got to find out who did them wrong in another life. What is it you want from a realtor? What's the main thing that you're looking for from the relationship with your realtor? And if you can find that, you find that out on the phone call. You find that out at the beginning, and then you sell it to them.
Go ahead, Marty, keep the microphone. How do you find the people who work on your team? And let me ask a question. When do you know it's time to add somebody to your team?
Well, we're doing so many things. I mean, one of the things that, I need 2 ISAs right now. I fired many. I need somebody just to focus on social media. We've got people doing it. So I think I'm in a little bit of a different point because I have stepped away. I was thinking about this earlier about listings. The highest number of listings I've ever personally got myself was 42 listings in 1 month.
Wow.
Now, I wasn't working part-time at that point in time. I was working very, very hard. So I kid my listing agents a lot. And I said, so far, y'all are not as good as I was. There's just one every 3. I'm going to get busy here. But, what was my question?
How do you find people for your team?
Finding people, social media, I tell you, one of the smartest moves I made recently is I let my inside team interview for a position for my inside team. So I ran the ad and then I let them interview, and they're so much better than me. It was just sickening.
Go ahead, if you
I
want
want
to
to answer
answer
that
that.
question as well. I'll tell you, you asked that question earlier, do I just hire people that I like? Well,
I used to just hire anybody that I felt was a good fit for our friendships outside of work, and that doesn't work out the right way. So I still have a lot of them.
But I hire now, I find someone, let's say someone else has got a good closing coordinator that I just know is a rock star. Well, a lot of times those people have friends that are similar personality styles as them. So a lot of times recruit that way, or if I run into a waiter, waitress, somebody on a sports team that I see a lot of potential in, I will hire them
That way as well. So I think that the key is just always be recruiting. It's not necessarily putting ads on Craigslist, it's just always be recruiting. And if you find somebody that you know will benefit your team, you can find a spot for them.
You guys have got a fairly stable team because you've had the same 2 buyer agents for as long as I can remember. Have you considered adding another buyer's agent, or at what point would you consider doing that? And if so, who would you steal away from me?
Yeah, we're always looking and considering bringing other people onto the team, but it has to be a right fit. And so, I wouldn't say we actively go out there pursuing other people, but we, from time to time, we'll talk to other agents to see if they are thinking about going onto a team. Nobody in the office at this point.
It's okay.
But, yeah, it really is somebody that has to fit within our personality. And one of the things that Judy was talking about, personality traits, it is really important because we are a smaller group, so they really do have to fit within the personality of our team.
And how many people do you have on your team for them?
So it's Richard, myself, and then we have 2 other agents and an administrative assistant.
Would you typically recruit new realtors? Would you go to the classes and maybe speak to the instructors to see who shined, or?
We haven't really considered that too much at this point. Our team works a little bit differently in that our team members do everything. So our other agents on our team also deal with listings and with buyers. So we actually want them to bring a lot of business in as well as what we give to them. So we actually let them do a little bit of marketing within the team, but also through their own spheres and their own communities. So we're looking typically for people who can also bring business into the team as well.
Let me repeat the question for those of you who didn't hear it. The question was, do you typically look for new agents? Do you go to the real estate schools and try to identify people who have potential? Is that right?
Right.
So Marty and Caleb, do you want to tackle that?
I go by the test, honestly, that John Pike test that I told you about. I used to think any fool could make it in real estate because I did, but I've grown to not believe that anymore. So I do go by the test, and he basically can tell me. He could even drill down to, are they going to be a good listing agent, or are they going to be a good buyer's agent? So I go by the test.
I think everybody's got their own perspective on that. I know people that will not hire anybody unless they have some experience. I've never hired anybody with not 1 day of real estate experience on an entire team of 15 now. And the reason why is because the way our team works, where I make everyone get in at 7 and get on the phones at 8, it would be hard to make any of you guys that are used to doing what you're used to doing now to get you guys on that schedule. But if someone doesn't know any better, it's easier to take someone that doesn't know anything about anything and teach them my way of doing it. It's worked so far.
Which of course is the right way, right?
I wouldn't say it's the right way. There's a lot of ways to do it. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Whose scripts do you use for your
The question was, whose scripts do you use for your inside sales agents?
We kind of tweaked, and we've got our own, but we use a lot of Tom Ferry's scripts, but we've changed them around a little bit, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember whether, I know that you guys don't have an inside salesperson, but do you guys have inside sales agents? You have 4 and
No,
Marty?
I'm firing all mine.
You're still looking?
I'm looking at one move to Carolina.
What was the reason you fired him? What was the reason you fired him?
And some of them, it was just basically a personality thing. I told you, you need one leader. I'm she. So some of it was that, some of it was just not the right tempo, the right energy, the right number of contacts per day. I just haven't found the right fit, but I am looking.
Okay. Caleb, what do you have? Let me ask you a kind of a different question then. How do you compensate your ISA?
Well, I got that question earlier. I don't think the way I do it is probably the best way to do it. We pay 17.5% on the transaction, but it's all outbound dials. So they get no incoming leads. These are all just cold calls.
So if you structure that, so you say 70% of the closed transaction?
Exactly.
what about they don't close any transactions, they don't get paid?
It's 100% commission.
Wow.
But the way it works and the way we've structured it and the quality of leads that they have and that the phone numbers are good enough to where if they hit their numbers, they make money. Like I've got one guy that doubles his numbers and he makes twice as much money as the rest of them. So if you get one heavy hitter in there, he will raise the bar for all the rest of the guys in the office. A bunch of, I can get it. You know, we have Vulcan 7, we have
Speak up if you're gonna ask questions.
Where do we get our phone numbers? We have Vulcan 7, we have Red X, so I think that's a total of like $500 a month. They both pull expired leads, but they both pull different phone numbers sometimes. So there's one that you can get on the phone with one service, and the next one you get the same cell on the phone with the other service. So we buy both of them.
Next question. Big question. How do you compensate your team? You can answer this if you don't want to. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but it was the number one question from everybody.
So what we do is if one of our agents brings their own lead in, it's somebody with spheres of influence, somebody they know, they get a certain percentage. Typically it's 30%. I'm sorry, 50%. If we give them the lead, then it's typically 30%. We get 30% of that as well. I'm sorry, 50%. If we give total 30%, we get if it's their own lead. We pay for all their desk fees, we pay for all their marketing. Our business, again, is a little different, we're much smaller, we're not anywhere near there. But like one of the things I hear a lot of people say is like, they're just not busy enough to have a team that they're going to give referrals to. And that was our concern, is that do we have enough? Our first buyer's agent came to us in 2005, and we actually, she was a past client, came to us and said, I'm just kind of curious what it's like to do real estate. I got my license a year ago. And the joke is that they hired her as the producer of the Prigal Brothers, and she's been with us since. And we really encourage our agents to develop their own business within our team, because they're active in their own spheres of influence. One's active in school events, one's active in K-9 lifesavers, lots of different things, which ultimately helps our team because they bring a business in. All of our marketing is a team marketing, but we give them money to market themselves in their own spheres as well.
You know, I own the brokerage and I run the team. My team is totally separate from the brokerage, so my team earns 95% of commission dollar, plus we have the desk fees. I pay my agents pay $185 for their desk fee. I pay the rest of it. They get, out of the 95% that my team gets, we split on buyer's agency 50-50. We split on listing, it's 25% if I give them the lead, it's 35% if they prospect and get that lead.
Caleb, we saw your chart. Can you just review it for us?
I'm sorry, can you say that again, 25%? They get 25% or you get 25%?
The listing agent gets 25%. We're a listing house. We focus on listings, so it's 25%. I give them the lead. If they go out and upon our name get a contact for sale by under and expire, they get 35% for actually doing some work.
I had mine up there earlier.
Yeah.
I would say, where was I going with this? I was going to give everybody a tip on this. Before you start your team, because anybody that doesn't have a team yet, as you start adding people to the team, I made the mistake of paying everybody's cap with the office, and I should have done that in building a team, because now I've got 15 people and I end up paying about $140,000 a year of their cap. So before you start the team, build that into their commission split, and I think you guys would probably agree with that.
The mistake when we first start out a team is paying too much. I really do.
You can always go up, but it's hard to scale back.
Is that true? My staff, is that true? Would you all take a reduction? You guys have been pretty consistent though, correct? I mean,
It's been said.
okay, all right. What do you do to generate leads for your team?
Again, we do a lot of marketing. We have a system in place where we send out all of our clients from the past get an anniversary gift every year that they from when they purchased the house. So that generates future referrals from them and just keeps their name out to them, to the clients. We'll give our Facebook. We send birthday cards to all of our clients and their children. Again, our job is to get our name out to as many people as possible to keep our name in front of them, so when they are considering moving, they remember us. We're constantly sending out marketing, asking for referrals, because a lot of people send out things but don't come out and say, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell? So that's how we try to generate as many leads as possible. We do the Zillow and all the other marketing things that, buy leads and all that. Well, again, not a great source, but, we do it anyway, just to try to, subsidize what we do as well.
I do a radio real estate update 3 times a week usually, and that's been really good. Been doing it for a very long time, so just giving information out to everybody about how the market is. I've got great name recognition, so a lot of people call us because of that. Soul signs are really good.
We prospect really hard. Like I said, we've got 4 inside salespeople, but everybody on the team, including the listing agents and the buyer agents now, all prospect. So really, you've got 8 people in there from at least 8 to 10 every day calling. And then, but if let's say an expired or sale hits in the afternoon, after everybody's off for the next morning, we have already texted them, called them multiple times, and emailed them by 9 o'clock. So they've got call, text, email from us by 9 o'clock. So they're either going to know who we are and do business with us, or they may be a little upset. But you'd rather them know who you are, to be honest. So we hit them by, what do they say, by land, by air, and by sea before 9 a.m.
Judy Lador helped me out here. We had a meeting with our leadership team last night, and you asked the question, Trish. They're not answering your calls anymore, and she had something very interesting to say. She said you should call up and maybe apologize because you didn't realize this. We're talking about recruiting now, but you didn't realize that you've gone back through your list and you called them like 20 times in the last 2 days, and you just, you don't want to offend them and you don't want to bother them, but you just wanted to let them know that you're very sorry, and would you mind if I called you in another month or 2 or something like that? And I thought that was very, very good advice on that. So if any of you here got a call like that, but anyway, does farming still work? Okay.
It's just
Bobbleheads. No, I'm just kidding.
We do a lot of farming. I mean, each of us have our own farming areas. We send out monthly newsletters. We send out just listed, sold postcards. We do a lot in certain areas that we farm to.
I've never successfully farmed. I'm more of a hunter. I can pick up the phone and make something happen, and I enjoy doing that. I like the accomplishment of being on the phone for an hour and talking to. Well, actually, not that many years ago, I'd make it a habit every single day, just like Caleb does, 2 hours a day. I'm on it.
Caleb, do you have anything to add?
I think farming works really well, but farming's in the follow-up. You very rarely call someone and they say, come over and list my house. But if you call and you ask, the initial question is, I was calling, hey, this is Caleb Pearson from Remax, just calling to see when you plan on selling your home on XYZ Street. And then if they tell you within the next 2 years, it's your job to follow up. Very few are going to say, every once in a while you get lucky and someone will say, I was just thinking about this last night. But that's once every 2-3 weeks if you're making a boatload of phone calls. So it's all in follow-up. But if you put them in a nurture campaign where they're getting dripped on consistently and they're getting home evaluations, that's all people care about is what their home is worth, in my opinion.
How often do you follow up with them?
Whenever they tell me, I cut it in half, but if nobody gives me a specific date, we still will call people every 3 months. And then after that 4th or 5th call, you start to build a relationship with them and they start getting used to hearing from you. And they're used to seeing your emails. And then make sure you tell them to go ahead and save my name
And your cell phone as your real estate, Caleb Pearson Real Estate, so when you go to sell your house, that's just put real estate and it'll pop up.
Anybody else?
Again, and we just tried to consistent marketing. What we found is, for us, the farming really does work because there's certain communities that we just have our name in. So we send, again, we do a monthly newsletter, we do several community newspapers. We find that we sponsor events in the community, name recognition. We just want to like bombard people so they constantly are seeing the Prigal Brothers. So when the time comes, hopefully we do a lot of community events, Oktoberfest. If anyone comes to our office, they'll see the amount of junk that we.
I can attest to that.
I mean, we're constantly sending out gifts, things, hopefully of value, but just stuff to get our name to.
Anything, Marty? No? Okay. What's the word I'm looking for? What top producer is a what? CRM, thank you. Couldn't remember that from saving my life. What CRM do you use?
Boomtown, and also Top Producer, Jeff, both of them.
Okay.
We just switched back to Top Producer. We were using Wise Agent, but then when Ken offered the Top Producer, we switched to that. Probably don't use it quite to its fullest extent, but hopefully we'll know more of their drip campaigns and things that they have to offer.
Caleb, do you have a favorite?
We have Commissions Inc. We have 2 Commissions Inc. platforms.
My opinion, though, Boomtown was originated in Charleston, so we can't get it, but Boomtown's probably the best from where I'm here.
But I provide top producer with my agents free, so I want you to know that. Free is good. Free is good. Okay. What challenges did you find when you were starting out as a team? When you first made the decision to start out as a team, what challenges did you face? And how did you overcome them? Okay, next question.
I'd say that the biggest challenge is everybody thinks you make so much money, and they don't understand how much time and money and energy is involved in leading a team, paying the bills. I mean, I've got a buyer's agent that 2 years in a row has made more than I have. So getting over that hurdle, but you have to lead from the front.
I think my biggest challenge has been organization, because from a very early, actually from day one, I've always been a rabbit, so I've never taken the time, so I had to eventually hire people, but I didn't hire people day one. I wish I had the name, address, and email of everyone I've touched in real estate. I'd be rich.
I think for us, we didn't really think about starting a team. It kind of happened when Kate came in, and that developed. And then a couple years later, Beth joined our team. For us, I think our biggest hurdle was when was the right time to hire that administrative assistant and find one that really worked for us. It's just a tough time. It's like we weren't quite ready, but at the same time, we needed to grow. In order to do that, we kind of took a step forward. It's tough to do. Financially, it's hard. It's hard to give some of that, some of the duties to somebody else. It's still very hard for us. And we just hired a new person who's doing our marketing and our administrative work. And it's hard to train somebody and hope that they're going to have the same customer service passion that we do. And you grow a business to a point where you feel really comfortable, and then you're hoping that the people on your team are going to have the same values, and when they're out there, they're going to be people who are going to most represent your clients, your team.
Have any of you ever used virtual assistants? How do you feel about them?
I like them. I think that they can really help take the busy work off of it. When you train your clients, I've got 3 people in listings, 3 people in closings. So I have a very high level of expectation of how they're going to treat our clients. And we do, I think, the best job I've ever done in a long, 20-plus year career. But the virtual assistant can do some of that organizational work that mundane work that keeps them from doing the level of customer service that I want. So I actually like them a lot.
Do you have any advice on that?
I tried it, and I haven't mastered that tactic yet.
Okay. I had a question here from somebody who wanted to know, and no offense, guys, but chicken scratch. Sorry. Wanted to know how you would evaluate other agents in terms of joining together with them as a team. Second part of the question is, how would you evaluate, especially if you've been an agent for a long time, how would you evaluate joining a team? What would you look for? What would you look for as a team leader?
Well, you know, Tom Ferry just had one of those little satellite things in my town, and what he did was he had a ladder of success, and I think it was, I don't remember all of them, but you know, you get into the business day one, you don't have anything going on, you need just to have some money for marketing. I don't know what the second one was, the third one or fourth one was hire an assistant, then you hire a consistent level of maybe lead generation, something like that. So I found out that everybody on my team begins at level 5. In other words, I'm producing for them everything up to level 5, and I think he had up to level 8. So evaluating whether somebody can come to my team or not depends on whether they can appreciate what they're getting on my team. Because just like Caleb, they're getting somebody to close out the deal. If I had this kind of position, when I first started real estate, believe me, I'm a rabbit. I would have done it. I would have not looked back. Actually, I made, when I first started real estate, what I pay now. So, you know, for me, it would have been a no-brainer. It would have been fabulous to have a closing department, a marketing department, everything else in the world.
And it's not just newer agents that you want that can come on a team and thrive. I mean, some people hate the paperwork. They just hate it. Some people hate scheduling pictures, getting signs out. They just like to sell. They like to be face to face with the client. And a lot of times they look at it like, okay, well, I did $5 million last year. That means if I want a 50-50 split, I'm going to have to do $10 million this year. Sometimes it's worth it to some people. It depends on their why and what their goals are. To make less money and work less and spend more time with their family. It all depends on every individual person's goals. But then as far as bringing new people on, you can really leverage your business and you can really accelerate your growth faster by joining a team early.
How do you train your new agents, the new members of your team, but also the brand new agents that come on? Or do you, I know some of you bring on new agents, but who does the training?
I personally do every morning at 7 when they all come in. So they all get there every morning before 7, and we start training from about 7 to 7:45.
I'm not going to come to work for you.
There's only a certain type of person that will come work
On our team, to be honest. And it's mostly not people that have been in the business and show up to the office at 9:30, 10 o'clock. So that's why, more the reason why we've hired. And we love athletes because we like the competitive nature of athletes. And we like people that hate losing more than they love winning.
I train once a week. I train my company and my team, so we meet once a week and go over goals and things that are good and things that are happening.
We also have weekly meetings, and what we'll do is each week we ask one of the agents on the team to bring something that they've learned. It can be a website, it can be a marketing piece that they saw or got in the mail. So we'll ask them, on a weekly basis. We'll each take 1 week a month and try to teach something to the group. So it's not just us bringing it to them; it's them bringing it to us as well.
Great idea.
The one thing, getting back to the question about what do we offer the team or what can we offer? I think the biggest value that certainly team has done for having people on our team has helped us, but